Hello and welcome to a new edition of CESI Talks. My name is Mateusz Wandrzejewski. I am the youth representative of CESI Youth, which is the youth organization of CESI. And with me today is Radka Maxová. Mrs. Maxová is member of the European Parliament for the Czechia Independent Party, which belongs to the SD fraction. Mrs. Maxová was shadow rapporteur of the implementation of the Council directive on establishing a general framework for equal treatment in employment and occupation. And this project is from us as CESI. We are the partner of the European Parliament, and together we are running the project called We EP, so We European Parliament. And this is about bringing the work of the EU and especially of the European Parliament and its members of the European Parliament closer to the Europeans and especially also to the workers and our members. Let's get straight to the interview. Mrs. Maxová, thank you for being here with us today. And as you have been shadow rapporteur on the directive for more equal treatment on the labor market, we would like to speak today shortly about people with disabilities on the labor market. So, do you believe that disability discrimination has worsened during the COVID-19 pandemic in the last year? And can you tell us if the pandemic has affected the position of people with disabilities on the labor market?
My answer is yes. Persons with disabilities are still at a higher risk of poverty and social exclusion than persons without disabilities. There continue to be barriers in access to healthcare, lifelong learning, employment, and leisure, and the participation in political life is limited. The COVID-19 pandemic has exacerbated all of these existing inequalities. Moreover, persons with disabilities were one of the most affected groups by the COVID-19 pandemic in the European Union in terms of contamination, deaths, and human rights violations, especially tragic for the situation of those living in residential care. As regards the position of persons with disabilities in the labor market, they are systematically deprived of their right to engage in work. Only 50.6% of persons with disabilities are in employment, compared to 74.8% for without disabilities. Moreover, many of the employed persons with disabilities are not employed in the open market. The current COVID-19 crisis drastically sped up digitalization of labor markets, which present both challenges and opportunities for the inclusion of all persons with disabilities. It is crucial to ensure accessibility of IT hardware and software, as well as of digital education. Reskilling and upskilling, very important, so that people with disabilities could benefit from flexible opportunities such as working from home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for this. I mean, this is your answer is basically what we can observe. And me as the youth representative, I can say that we observe that always the most vulnerable groups are hit mostly by the crisis. We had it in the financial crisis, 2008, 2009. And now again with the COVID pandemic, we see that the people, the most vulnerable groups, young people, young women especially, people with disabilities, migrants, and so on are mostly hit. And then, I mean, automatically comes up the question, what does the European Union do to integrate the disabled people into the labor market? What are you doing as the European Parliament to also protect them?
I think that European Parliament is very active since this time began. The new European Strategy for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities 2021 to 2030 takes into account that the accelerated digital transformation and the green transition offer opportunities and stresses the need to use information and communication technology. artificial intelligence and robotics to design on-site and remote services tailored to the needs of persons with disabilities. The EU, in my opinion, made a major step forward in this regard with the adoption of the Web Accessibility Directive and the European Accessibility Act in last period. The Web Accessibility Directive provides people with disabilities with better access to the website and mobile application of public services. The second, the European Accessibility Act is an EU law that set the new EU-wide minimum accessibility requirements for a range of products and services. It seeks to strengthen the right of persons with disabilities to access goods and services available in the EU internal market. The EU also funds projects that address the need of people with disabilities and promote their integration into digital society through various programs. Furthermore, as I already mentioned, in order to make a good use of all of these technologies, we must remove accessibility barriers for persons with disabilities as regards digital education. Finally, as a co-chair of the European Parliament's Disability Intergroup, I push for mainstreaming of the rights of persons with disabilities in every piece of legislation, thereby making sure that the digital world that we are building is fully inclusive for the beginning.
Wow, thank you very much. I mean, you can hear already that the European Parliament is here very progressive when it comes to the protection and integration of disabled people. I mean, looking at the time, the last question would be if you believe that teleworking is a good tool to integrate disabled people into the labor market. But I see it by your shaking of your head that you fully support, and also what you have been mentioning, that the European Parliament, all the directives they have created, all the legalizations, all of this is part of the digitalization and of the future that we are having. Okay, perfect. Mrs. Maxova, thank you very much for your time. It's already over. It was a short interview. Thank you for updating us when it comes to the employability and the employment rights and integration of people with disabilities. Thank you very, very much for your time. And as you say in Czech, I think it's dziękuję or dziękuję? Dziękuję. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for invitation. Have a nice day. Bye.